am going to share a quote, right, by Buckminster Fuller. If you are familiar with him, he's like a philosopher, mathematician, thinker. Okay, those who read philosophical text are familiar with him in some ways. Now he said this: the minute that you begin to do what you want, it is really a different kind of life. Now, why I mention this quote, it is related to will. Now, willpower, the will, and then belief systems. I found that in my life, and when I observe my family and people around me, the will is the overwhelming, overpowering element determining our reality. It is overpowering. I'll explain to you why. Okay? There are many factors, such as what time you were born. We look at the astrology. Okay? We look at the environment we are in. You could be born in a very poor environment. You could have poverty in your own family. You could be born in a war-ridden country. But when your will is so overpowering, those factors are not going to put you down. Even if you have a poor horoscope, a numerologist could assess your numbers based on your birthday and say, oh, it's all terrible. But if your willpower, your will is so strong, it overrides everything else. All those little things become like 5%, 10%, or maybe maximum 20% of impact on your life. So this is why I feel it's so important for us to understand this. I have seen people with all the greatest parameters, you could say, or things given in their life, but because their willpower is weak, they are unable to determine the best version of reality for themselves. Belief systems also is key. If you believe that because you have lack of talent, or you believe that that you're not good enough, or that you have this astrologer said this thing about me, and you are not meant to be so successful, or so on and so forth, then that will be your reality. Because ultimately, it's yourself, it's you. Okay? So, this is the soft side, I would say, the explanation of the whole thing. Now, I want to give you a little bit of the science in this. Right. I wonder if you've heard of the double slit experiment. It's quite a common experiment many people know about in quantum physics. It is when this, how you observe, it's actually a setup of particles actually in an experiment, and how you actually observe the firing of the electron, whether it is a particle or a wave, across the slits. So how you observe, what the experiment is trying to say is how you observe the electron as it's fired to the slits, whether you observe it as a particle or a wave. If you're actually observing, you would see in a different way. That determines what the reality is. So so the thing is that whether you observe or do not observe, and how you observe determines the reality. That's what the experiment is trying to show. So I'm explaining in very simple terms because anyway I don't have a lot of time to go in through it. But how we observe things in our life, how we observe events and circumstances of our life determine our reality now. So if you look at life as being magical, your reality will be a magical life. I've experienced that myself. I always viewed my life to be magical. And as I proceeded through life, I found it to be more and more magical, and I had a desire for more and more. So observation is key. It's interesting, right? You to go away from all those when you say you're fixed with this, it's so fatalistic. But really it's about free will, how you observe the world, how you observe the everything around you and your own life. So that's the thing. Then the other thing is that, back to the double slit experiment, the motion of electron after it passed through the slit is chaotic. It's considered chaotic in this sense. So even a diminutive thermal fluctuation, I'm going to read a quote here, in an electron's interaction with the slits can cause the electron's future motion to be unknowable to us. So the smallest adjustment can determine an unknown path, and that applies to us also. So if we make a small adjustment to ourselves, our attributes, our belief systems, it can result in a, unknowing destination. It can result in a much better life. It can result in something which you never quite imagined. A totally different pathway would be revealed. So these are small adjustments. And I remember I received a message. Several people I know also received this message that you make some small adjustments, some major things can happen also in your life. And they can be positive if you focus on making those positive changes. So with each decision made, more possibilities branch out. So live life making decisions, and don't live life postponing decisions. That itself is making changes in ourselves and determining our reality. Just by not postponing decisions and making decision-making part of our life is impactful. That's another thing. Now, there is another theory which I talk about in page 260. It's called the many worlds interpretation. Okay? I'm going to read out to you what it is. Okay, the many worlds interpretation is that each universe branches into innumerable new universes every time a quantum measurement is made. What does it mean in layman terms? Okay? Where we switch from one physical reality, a world, to another physical reality, simply by changing our belief systems and also our observation. And it happens at 1 billion times a second. We don't even know it or feel it at the conscious level. And we actually switch between worlds. So the two parameters that affect it is our will and our belief. And our belief is linked to observation. So in a chaotic system, very small changes in the initial conditions lead to radically different trajectories. So making small adjustments, small positive adjustments in your life can lead to a different path in your life, totally different, which you never quite imagined. So that new reality, which is unimaginable, manifests. By changing your belief systems, that you are not ruled by fatalistic things, that you think, oh, it is only based on, because I inherited this kind of bad genes, that I would be sick all my life. No. Even DNA is configurable. I spoke about how the DNA, bulk of it, the junk DNA, is like a black hole, and that is totally reconfigurable. So you don't have to inherit any bad genes. You decide to totally renew and revamp. So that's the thing. It's all within our control. And most importantly, it is even more powerful when we connect with the Creator. The will, our will, with the will of God combined, led by the Spirit of God, takes us to another level, because much more is revealed. So, in essence, it is our will and how we observe things, and yes, our belief systems have an impact on our reality. When we are not born with a fatalistic life, we just need to make sure that we have an understanding that we can shape our reality by being proactive, by making decisions part of our life, and knowing that all those other things which are ruled by the world, okay, but you think that the feng shui is bad, or all those things are bad. No, it has a very tiny effect compared to your will. I thank you very much, and any questions or comments, please write it down, and I'm very happy to hear feedback from you, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday for episode 7. Thank you very much.